Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Citizen Tech Talk episode, Quid Pro Quo episode 3. I'm CT, you know me.
And I'm Infantry Lead the Way.
And welcome to a discussion in relation to patch 3.9 and the nightmares we've just come across in relation to, once again, having more stuff ripped out of the actual patch again. This is becoming a bit of a norm, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, well, they definitely changed things up a lot. Whether this is the end of the world or whether stuff will come back, that remains to be seen. But for now, it looks like a lot of features that people really wanted have been taken out, and a lot of people are really upset. If you're on the forums, you'll see it's blowing up. Concierge chat's blowing up. General chat's blowing up. 3.81 feedback is blowing up. It's blowing up. People are unhappy with the patch, unhappy with the roadmap changes. It's not looking really good right now. We're not in a good spot.
And this is the problem, right? So let's just have a quick look. As you guys can see in the browser window below, this is the roundup for the 24th of January this year. So happy Friday, everyone. Each and every week we accompany the roadmap update with a brief explanation note to give you insight into the decision making that led to any changes. This is part of the effort to make our communications more transparent, more specific and more insightful for all of you to help make Star Citizen Squadron 42 possible. With that, let's dive into this week's roundup. CIG community team. Okay, so notable changes, PU, PvP bounties and bounty missions, NPC improvements. Okay, so yeah, they've got a long way still to go with that. One thing that has really irritated me, mate, is the low speed combat. Do you want to put your two bob in before I go off my head?
So earlier I made a post on CIG's forums about how we need to implement a system to bring it back to how it used to be, because the current meta of jousting and DPS racing, it's really unintuitive, and it's really against what the vision of for the game that they discussed at the beginning. And it looks like we're about to see that the first very iteration of that with high speed combat, a change to it that will slow down the combat. We're yet to see how it's implemented. I don't know what they're going to do or how this system, as it's currently listed right here, is gonna fix it. But we'll just have to wait and see.
My major concern is, okay, so the reason why this has even come into scope of discussion is turrets. The hammerhead, for example, and turret play, turret lock on, actually hitting targets, especially fast moving ones like a saber, an arrow, the saber comment, for example, even a hornet, right, for example. The whole thing is what they used to allow us to do is play the game in its original flight engine the way it was intended. Strafe fighters come in, interceptors come in, whatever, they do their job and they run and they come back, right? That's called hit and run. That's what those ships do. Now they're trying to minimize the sphere of engagement, where your range to attack is much closer. Now they're trying to slow the ships down, so you basically become, cannon fodder for any turret. And it's really weighing towards the big ship side of town. And that's something I really don't agree with. I believe that if we're going to have the game play immersively and the way it was intended, shouldn't we be focusing on the actual game mechanic of the ships themselves? And why, if they didn't actually ever wanted to do this, have the actual fighters do what fighters do, why did they even allow this in the first place? That's my greatest question. I'm just going to keep my cans on in case there's any reverb in the speakers as well. I just realised that. Sorry, guys. But yeah.
Here, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, you go first.
So immediately we caused them in with high speed combat, because this is really the most, out of all the stuff on the roadmap, this is the only good addition that everybody's looking forward to. I disagree that it's going to favor turrets and larger ships. I think that just because we're at lower speeds doesn't mean you're still going to have ease of hitting it with ease of hitting a small ship because of the small ship's maneuverability. I can only think of how, like a Saber or how a Gladius can flank underneath the bottom of the of something like a Vanguard and shoot it in its blind spots. These big ships, they have a lot of blind spots, and any ship bigger than the Vanguard behaves really sluggishly. I think you can get, if you can knock out just one of the turrets on the Constellation, well then you can constantly flank behind that. And I think with this high speed combat, with we're talking about penalties with engagement, I think, in my opinion, what it's going to be is something like, if you go over a certain speed, you'll start having like shield penalties. Your shield will start to deplete. Your weapons will fire slower, and they'll have less damage and have less power going to it as it tries to maintain that high speed. This is just a theory, but I think this is how they can bring it back down. So when it comes to high speed combat being needed in order to make fighters good, I'm in complete disagreement with that. I think fighters at low speeds will be able to outperform large ships at the same speed if the pilot is skilled and the pilot knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's just when we're talking about squadrons or fighters, yeah. So Vanguard Warden, yes, does have that sluggish rotation, but it makes up for an armor and weaponry. And yeah, it allows those lighter fighters to have more hits on them, but not cause really much more damage than a Merlin or an Aurora could by comparison, even with 4 Panthers on a Saber. But yeah, I just think that the slowing down of combat might become tedious for large groups of fighters in formation, coming in an arrow formation or in a flanking. What do you call it? A phalanx formation as a single wall of fire against a large capital ship. Even the checkerboard formation, up on top, down on bottom, etc., so forth, offset, blah, 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 blah. I just feel that slowing that down so much is going to be frustrating, especially for highly skilled pilots who know what they're doing, want to do, and get it done, and then come back, circle around, reform, and then come in and put down some, final fires, some rockets, and whatever. Like slower flight, I understand the Eclipse, for example. I understand the Wardens. I understand the Cutlass Black. I understand. What's another ship you could think of which is more cumbersome?
The Freelancer.
Yeah, right. Big cannons, slow, clunky ship. Lay those hits in. That's going to be really fantastic and really useful, especially the overheat mechanic, as you're talking about, actually being useful finally for weapon systems as well as thrusters and so on for those ships. But I think for the Interceptor class, they're really not allowing for that different style of gameplay. They're trying to make every one fits one box kind of attitude, one fits all. And I think they need to maybe bring that in now, as you said, and get that close proximity fighting and get that intimacy between your enemies and yourself. But then also incorporate in a later patch, maybe 4.2, the actual alternate fighter model, which would be interceptors doing what they're doing as well. So that creates a diversity in the battle as well. Not all ships are being slowed down, not all ships only have a very short range of fire, because interceptors do not have a massive punch like a Freelancer would or a Constellation would, especially with Gatling guns on it, right? And that's I think that's something that needs to be considered for the fighter itself, the actual ship itself, its mechanic, its game mechanic, and how it needs to fight to survive in the fight, and also be able to play that role and do that function within that battle scene where you've got your front heavies. Then you've got your interceptors coming in. They're your pest ships, remember? Like the old M50 days, right? They are there to draw fire and annoy the shit out of people to distract from the heavies. And I think you slowing them down is going to incorporate a lot of aggravation from people who are well skilled, well trained, and well set up in their formation flight to be able to come in and intercept and do that. Especially if there are other fighters in the scene as well, which there always will be. You're going to have fighters dogfighting as well as drawing fire, as well as being pest ships, while the heavies, get the fire drawn away from the heavies. And they have to be fast ships. They have to be in and out regularly. And if you're slowing them down, that makes them very easy targets. And the heavies then, well, you know what's going to happen? The heavies are going to drag all that fire, and they'll ignore the interceptor ships.
Well, can I go ahead and say something real quick?
Yeah.
So I think what this is talking about is bringing all ships down to their default SEM speed, and this particular thing is bringing them all back to the SEM speed, and making large penalties if you try to fight over that speed. So these small fighters, they'll still have the speed advantage. They'll still have the maneuverability advantage because their SEM speed. Think about the default SEM speed of an M50 versus the default SEM speed of a Constellation. It's naturally it can naturally fly at a higher SEM speed, and when both ships are flying at their SEM speed, it still has a speed advantage. It still has the maneuverability advantage. This is just about bringing all the ships back to SEM speed to end the jousting, in the DPS race, in the nonsense. We'll still have the two heavy fighters fighting, and the Constellations going at it, and the Vanguards going at it, and the big sabers. But you'll also have all these interceptors in the middle, and to make it a very exciting thing. So that's what I think when they say high-speed combat, not slowing everything down, making everything low speed, but making penalties when you go over that SEM speed. And I think that can only be a good thing.
And you mean that in that respect of overheating mechanic and power draw issues, yes, and shields and stuff. All right, yeah, it's an interesting argument. We're just going to have to see how it's implemented as per usual. It'll probably be an absolute dumpster fire of an implementation, at least the first time, and they'll balance Pro by 5.0. All right, moving forward though, new targeting methodology. God, I'll let you go first because I've got some pretty negative stuff to say about it.
So we're in agreement that the current target methodology is garbage. There was just a post in the forum the other day about how there's no drop shadow on the pit. So when a player gets behind a bright moon or behind a bright sun, you can't even find the pip to even target the guy because he's so drowned out by the pip not being visible. So it's an exciting change. It's a good change. It should have been in the work. I don't know why it takes so. I don't know why this has to be like a huge thing. On how track on their off to your screen, the UI updates. Why is it so hard? For now, implement it right now in the next patch. Put a freaking drop shadow on the pips. Why is it this difficult? Go ahead.
It's not. That's the problem. They're trying to work with a new flight engine that doesn't work. They're trying to make it work, and the reason why they're staying with it, as we've already discovered in a previous episode, is due to the hover mode atmospheric flight. They think that they can reach that outcome with this flight engine. Unfortunately, that's one thing against the many that's going in its favour. And this is what I don't get. Why not go back to the old flight model? The targeting system was perfect. Your draw, your drop shadow, everything was perfect. And the only problem was hover mode. Now, most people couldn't give two shits if we've got real hover mode or SC magic mode for hover, right? We are talking about how many hundreds and thousands of years ahead of time right now, right? Hundreds of years at least. I'm sure anti-gravity tech would have been very much adopted and discovered by then. And anti-gravity tech would then be the SC magic that they could sell off instead of manual hover mode, which makes things just what it was, a fucking nightmare. The only thing I really hate about the new targeting system too is the auto gimbal and the target assist. not everyone plays on a keyboard and mouse. Not everyone plays on a controller. Most people who play Star Citizen have joysticks. If not one, they have two. If not that, they have a HOTAS. Some people have Virpil, right? Joysticks which cost over $1,000, $2,000. Most people who are going to actually really play this game on a daily are not going to be using a mouse and keyboard. And those of you that are using a mouse and keyboard and you're not willing or ready to upgrade to the correct equipment, peripherals for the game, well, it depends on what ship you have. If you've got an Aurora, mouse and keyboard's fine. Mustang, even a Hornet in some respects, or the Avenger, that's fine, but when we're talking about high-speed, high-skill ships, you have to have joystick. You have to. And that's that. This game is not designed as a click-and-point shooter. This is an immersive, hardcore, immersive physical experience, and your physical skill is what makes you a good pilot and helps you get the kills. Obviously, having a great ping on top, as been discussed in past, is extremely important too. I don't like what they're doing. Once again, I will just say what I always say: bring back the old flight model, make SC magic with hover mode. Problem is solved for everybody. It shits me because even putting a drop shadow on a pip is such a simple thing to do. They've already got the modules for that with other shadows and what do you call it? Atmospheric lighting and stuff like that. Like they showed in an episode way back when they were talking about the HABs, right, on planets, right, the emergency habitats. They had drop lighting there and they had the shadowing, and I've showed you in videos of past that I've done the response to They Lied to Us. In that video there, it shows the lighting, it shows the shadows, it shows the atmospheric steam and smoke. It shows all of that. Putting a freaking shadow on a pip would take someone maybe half an hour to implement on all ships, because it's the one flight mechanic that works for everybody. It just works in NVIDIA. Not. Mate. I think it's a joke. I think they need to go back to the drawing board, wake up to themselves. Forget hover mode as a thing. Go back to a flight engine that was perfect and felt great and was well adjusted and optimized and it was perfect for everybody. Do the physics rewrite. Get the game rewritten so stuff doesn't clip, and just get it done properly, guys. Fuck. Anyway, moving on. Law system V2 surrender. Now, this is a big thing. The jail system's coming in 3.9. You even get a jail bodysuits for 3.9, and you get the choice to surrender now. So, mate, what's your take on piracy, UEE, NPC, UEE, police, and surrender, impounding, and all that type of stuff? Do you think it's something that's necessary for this game, or is it just something that you think is a little bit tacky?
Well, I think it's necessary. I like the current system as it's implemented, the current vision behind the system. I don't like the current system. So surrender. All right. So there's two types of pirates there's two types of criminals and pirates in Star Citizen. There's the criminal players and pirates who do unlawful acts and they cause a lot of trouble, and then there's the other half who are just players who got the crime state completely by accident because the ship decided to fly into the moon when you went to quantum travel to something else, and that killed people in the ship and that gave you a bounty. Or another player got on your ship to kill you, but he doesn't have a bounty yet and he's on your ship to kill you, so you shoot him preemptively. You get a crime stat like that. You get a crime stat. There's like 8 different nonsense ways that you get crime stat. Surrender needs to be not only that, but a kiosk, just so you can, I got a crime stat for because I was in my mole and the guys blew up the asteroid and it sent my ship into the thing and it killed everybody. Now I have crime stat for that. Let's just go ahead and surrender, get the jail time over with, so I can continue on with my life. That's where surrender is at now, because of how broken and how garbage the current lawful system is. People on your ship and you shoot unwelcome visitors on your ship and you get a crime stat, what nonsense is that? It's needed just more ways to get rid of the freaking crime stat. As quick, there should be a kiosk. Turn your next to the fine kiosk. Turn yourself in kiosk. Go right up to it. Turn yourself in. Do your prison time. Get it all over with and move on with your life.
Yep. The thing is, the main concern for me, okay, so if you are an actual outlaw, you have bounties on you, we're going to come up and talk about bounty gameplay soon, and you are full crime stat, like you are full rings, you are shining, flashing red, you are a proper, proper outlaw, like full-on outlaw. How long do you go to jail for? Do you go to jail for a week in the game, or in reality, like 24/7 for a week, and you just can't play the game for a week? Or is it something like an hour? Is it half an hour? What are the actual real world implications and penalties for actually going to jail in the game? And is that something that's going to turn a lot of people off? And piss a lot of people off, especially, as you said, these stupid, idiotic crime stats for no bloody reason. Now, I am aware UEE security forces will come in a way, 1 or 2 ways, 3 ways maybe, depending on how bad you are, and you can easily kill them and escape, and then go to someone like Grim Hex or somewhere else in another solar system. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. CIG. I don't care about more moons. I care about actual solar systems, thanks. And you can go to a place like that and then clear your crime stat there, etc. And if you want to be a full-on law-abiding citizen and do all the right things and not lose credits and stuff like that for having to pay for your crime stat getting taken off, and you want to surrender, how long are you actually going to be incarcerated for in real time, like we are in now? What do you reckon?
I have no idea how they want to do it. Hopefully they'll do it just real quick, kind of like with the claims. But here's the thing I just thought of when it comes to surrender system. So the current reading of it is, in order to allow players to be arrested without losing their life, we will allow them to surrender by coming to a halt and powering down their ships when ordered to by security. Security will halt their attack. They're already attacking you. If you're in an Aurora, if you're in a Super Hornet, when you power down your ship, your shields go off. Your shields can go off. Are you even, unless you're in a big ship, are you even going to be able to stop? By coming to a complete stop, are you going to be able to stop especially if you're in Aurora, which most of the players are, before the security just straight gank you before you can even surrender? Why would they implement it like that? They should be able to hail them, open your comm link, hail them, and then they'll stop while you're hailing them. Something like that. Not I have to come to a complete stop and power off my ship and hope while I'm doing that I'm not absolutely obliterated into dust because I'm in a starter ship.
This is the thing. This is really becoming very weighed in the favour of big ships, and this is something that started in 3.6, where everyone had to have at least a Cutlass Black to get to Hurston, for example, because an Aurora or a Mustang or a Hornet or an Arrow didn't have the quantum field to get there. And or the overheating of quantum, and I just, once again, that brings up my overheating argument again and again and again, how bloody useless that is. But yeah, I just think that the whole argument is continuing down the pathway of let's make people buy bigger ships, and if you have a fighter, put it in your bigger ship. It's more money grabbing. It's more of this, we're going to make it impossible for you to just have a starter ship, even though an Aurora was touted as a long distance exploration, kind of a tourist ship to start with. It had its own bed and you can just go explore and, get out of people's way and whatever. To now, it's, oh no, it's a useless ship and you can't even use it because you're going to get ganked straight away. Same with the Mustang, you'll definitely get ganked because it's a glass cannon. Even, and with any ship that doesn't have a bed in it, which is quite a few ships when you actually think about it on the actual ship list, you're going to have to land somewhere on a planet, and hopefully while you jump out of your ship and log off, then when you come back and your ship respawns, etc., and you're there on the planet, standing there basically, that someone hasn't already come and blown your ship up, or a reclaimer's come in and stripped your ship for parts, and then you've got to pay a claim. And then you've got this on top, then you get a crime stat because you logged off the server and your ship did something stupid on the surface of a planet, which we'll discuss later too, and it caused a crime stat to happen, and then you come back in and all of a sudden, as soon as you log in, you've got UAE shooting at you while you're standing on the ground while your ship's just sitting there without its shields up, and then boom, and then you die, and then you got a crime stat. So as soon as you get back to the place you're going to respawn from, obviously somewhere like Grim Hex, then you're going to have to get out of Grim Hex and go through that bullshit. It is creating drama, more drama than you could possibly ever want for this game, just by doing that. CIG, you need to have a reality check, guys. This is in an alpha. Bring in this shit and make it actually responsible to happen to you. So you do something wrong, you're actually using, UEC, not AUEC. 2, the jail sentence actually means something because you've got body damage, you've got health, you've got all of that other stuff, all the other consequences for breaking the law. Bring that in then, right? And that's beta. That's probably another 10 years away as we're speaking. But that's the thing. I don't believe it is a smart thing to bring in now. I don't think the death mechanic's the right thing to bring in now either. I don't think body damage is at all a good idea to bring in at the moment. And stamina. Yes, they're great things and test them out, but don't implement them permanently until you're at beta. Yeah? I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. I think it's stupid, and if people are getting stupid bloody jail sentences for 24 hours in real time for accidentally getting a crime stat because something stupid happened with the game itself, people are going to absolutely lose their shit, CIG. Have you got anything more to add in relation to that one?
Well, no. I want to go ahead and go to the player interaction and system improvements. Pretty much, it's now you can do little small things with the mouse wheel and increased interactivity. But for player interaction system, ship AI pathfinding, ship AI navigation, weather locomotion, I don't have anything to say about those 4. If you want to go ahead and speak on those, go ahead, and then we'll move on because right below that is some new stuff that we haven't seen before, and that I want to get into. And there's some exciting pictures showing, but go ahead.
Yeah, cool. Player interaction system improvements, who cares? Ship AI 3D, pathfinding, planet side, building fundamental technology, AI controlled ships. That doesn't really... who cares? It's not done yet. Once it's done and AI actually works, then we'll talk about that. And navigation, collision, avoidance, that's just AI crap. Weather locomotion, right? The player and other characters will show improvements in locomotion when moving in inclement weather. So this is Microtech, Planet Microtech, or New Babbage, where before your footsteps were extremely belated and minimized by the wind, by the snow, by obviously the cold, having your arm up above your head like that. Great animation, terrible movement speed. You are in a spacesuit, yeah, and if you are in a spacesuit that's not suitable, like your basic spacesuit, they need to then bring in cold weather suits immediately to be able to combat that, so you can run around. You don't have to worry about thermal cooling and pneumonia and all that stuff and death mechanics there. They need to bring in that bodysuit immediately and have it as a standard suit when you leave New Babbage. As you're going out of the station, it is a free standard suit that is available for you to put on before you go through the airlock out to your hangar or out to the outside on the ground automatically. Without question, you shouldn't have to buy it. It should be free. If you want to create those environments, which are spectacular, that weather system is mind-blowing. And there you go, something positive from me for once. Oh, guys, imagine that, right? See, I do give positive feedback when it's due. And yes, the weather system itself it's freaking phenomenal. Never been done before. I freaking love it. Okay, I think it's fucking awesome. But provide bodysuits that are suitable for free at New Babbage to allow you to get out into the cold and actually run around, have gameplay, have FPS, do your mining, whatever you want to do, even science and exploration, farming even, if you're going to farm, I don't know, icicles, who knows, but have those suits available for free. Don't make people pay for them, because then people won't go to New Babbage or Microtech. It's that simple, guys. Your input?
I want to say something. Yeah. So the current plan is to have all the suits in the game, they all work the same. Light armor works the same. It just has the same damage. It has the same dust resistance as all the other light armor. The medium armor works the same distance, same damage resistance as all the other medium armor, heavy armor, etc. What they want to do is they want to bring in a system where now they have these suits, and this suit is good for cold weather. And you could go on Microtech, and on Microtech you'll be good. But you could go to a hot planet, you won't be good. On the hot planet, you need the suit made for heat. And then you go to a planet next to the star, and that has high radiation, and you got to put that suit on. So hopefully with this weather locomotion and making players feel better, the way that it was implemented at CitizenCon with the guy, when you hold up your hand in front of your face, nobody holds their hands in front of their eyes. If it's coming right here, you hold it above your eyes so you can still see in front of you. You don't completely block your own vision of where you're going with your hand. Only a complete idiot would do that.
Right. Go ahead. It's so true, though, right? Like, I'm just going to do this and walk around. Oh, shit, there's a bloody, ship there. There's a rock there. Like,
yeah.
Bit of dumb. But that's the thing. I think those undersuits for those different climates should already be available alongside your standard undersuit. And any armor that goes on top automatically works. No fucking around with connection points and click-on points and snap to points where the armor that flies off somewhere. The undersuits should just have those mechanics built into them. They should be standard suits that come with your basic normal spacesuit as part of the game in its entirety. So when you are going to a volcanic planet, you are actually able to, before you get out of your ship, change your spacesuit to your volcanic, hydro cool suit, whatever they want to call it, and then get out of your ship with your armor on and be able to run around the surface without dying within 3 milliseconds of stepping down the ladder. Vice versa in New Babbage and Microtech, same thing again. So that these things, they have to give some freebies away. They have to make the game actually accessible, because people shouldn't have to grind a million missions to get one space underbody suit, right, to go to a different planet. That's fucking stupid. Especially if you're going from planet to planet to planet, solar system to solar system in the space of 1 week. So let's say you're on holidays from work, or you're a kid, and you've got access to all this stuff. You don't want to have to grind around one solar system for 6 months just to get enough money to get the right ship to get out of it, and then buy the undersuit, and then buy the armor, and then get all. Come on, it becomes a super grindy game, and then it becomes unenjoyable. And there needs to be some gamey aspects to it. Immersive, fun, exciting, yes. Slightly realistic, yes. But to a point where we talk about realism as something that's enjoyable realism. It's not, I have to drink coffee every half an hour. I have to have a drink of water every 20 minutes. I've got to have 3 bits of bread every 15 minutes. If you want to get a game like that, get Green Hell, 7 Days to Die, The Forest, a bunch of other survival games. If you want to play that game, play that game. The food element in this should be maybe once or twice a day you need to eat, and once or twice a day you need to have something to drink. Stop there and give it up. And I think they're going to go far too far with the survival mechanic. If they are going to do that, though, like in Subnautica, offer people the option to play the game without the survival mechanic. Maybe just have it as, like a body repair mechanic instead without the food and water. And I find with Subnautica, I really enjoy that option. And I never play with survival mechanics with food and water because it just makes it a fucking nightmare on top to play. And it takes the fun away. So yeah, look, they really need to think about that. Underbody suits, I reckon, and yeah, proper animation mechanics. Not let's put our hand in front of our eyes and hope for the best. Put it up here where you can visually see the face in the mask still, especially if someone's walking towards you in a blizzard, and speed up the walk as well, and obviously the environmentals for the bodysuit and stuff. Body dragging, do you really give a shit about that right now?
Well, actually, yes, I do. So body dragging, it's part of the next exciting feature. So body dragging is actually a really, really exciting feature because that's going to allow the rescue services to come online. Because once that's implemented, they'll be able to implement a tech, kind of like what Rust has and many other games have, is when you get shot into a death state, you don't just instantly die and respawn. You instead go down. Like, think of if you've ever played Arma 3 or Arma 3 Life. In that, when you get shot, you can all right, if you want to die, you can respawn immediately, or you can like wait 20 minutes, and when you get down, emergency service will say, oh, hey, there's somebody down over here, and they'll start dispatching to your location to revive you and get you up. Body dragging is going to allow that to happen by, I'm playing with Citizen Tech Talk, and all right, but this is for NPCs, okay? This is version 1. But where this is going with is me and Citizen Tech Talk are on a planet. He hits the wrong key and jumps out of his spaceship and lands on the moon, and now he's dead. Instead of him being dead and respawning, he's instead down, and I can go over there and pick him up and get him in the ship. Yeah. And I fly him to the space station. I put him on my shoulder. I take him to the hospital, put him in the bed, and then here's revived there. Especially with Death of the Spaceman, really exciting stuff. The ship HUD rework, it's needed. Not much there for them to say on that, but for body dragging, anything else you want to add for that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Once that's actually properly implemented, we've got bleed out time as well. So not like in some game where bleed out time's 10 seconds, but bleed out time can, depending on the appendage that's damaged, a leg, an arm, a shoulder, a chest, the head even, if it's a non-life-threatening injury, the bleed out time counter should maybe come up. So you have an hour and 20 minutes to get down to the surface, pick me up from the planet with my broken legs and arms and back, right? Because we did that the other day. And actually chuck me over your shoulder, chuck me in your ship, take me to the space station and get me into one of these med beds within 1 hour, 120 minutes. If you don't get me within the 120 minutes, well, I die and I have to come back from scratch again. I believe that itself is excellent, but we are so far away from actually achieving that game mechanic that I couldn't give a shit about talking about that now, because it's just concept. And it's all concept all the time. Once I see it implemented and it working, and actual medical beds actually being used for their actual purpose, and all stations having medical beds, then I'm going to be like, oh, fucking awesome. That's a great improvement of life, or life improvement within the game, yeah? But yeah, it's just, I just couldn't give a shit about talking about it really right now because it's not really happening. Who gives a shit about new HUD reworks? I think the HUDs are fine at the moment, but hey, who cares? The Gemini G54 Ballistic SMG, just another gun. Do you really want to talk about another gun?
No, I don't. All the weapons. So here's what I don't think we'll agree that we don't care about. The Gemini gun, we don't care about that. The pistol, don't care. The new weapon, don't care. The sniper rifle, don't care. The death animation improvements. You're dead. You can only see yourself dead for 5 seconds. Who cares? Grenade launchers, the commodity transfers. So, all right. So this is. I'm going to read that for. All right. Following the discussion, The decision was made to temporarily remove this card from the roadmap until a new target date is set upon. Okay, all of these is temporarily removed. So a lot of, right now is doom and gloom and it's removed from the roadmap. What are we gonna do? Oh no, dude, it's removed from the roadmap. I was looking so sorry. All right, it was temporarily removed from the roadmap. It could be that they removed it for the next year because they've done that. They removed it for the next year. It could be they're removing it for a month from now to see where they are with 3.9, and they'll start bringing stuff back that was just removed today back. So as we go through this, we're going to see some stuff that's going to be removed. I know System Tech Talk was going to be like, they're mishandling the project. All this has been removed because CIG don't know what they're doing. Their management is awful. They promised all this and they really borked it. He's probably going to come from that. Where I'm coming from, though, is it was removed this week because I think they do a roadmap roundup pretty often. In another month, it could come back. Don't get your panties in a bunch about it just yet. A lot of people are their panties in a bunch. I'm not in that. I'll have to wait. If it never comes back, then my panties will get bunched up. But for right now, my panties are fine. Commodity transfer timers, accounting, all this shit was removed. What do you think? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you said it for me. They balked it. They screwed it up. They are useless. They can't get overheaded correctly, etc. so forth. Taking the timers out, you know what? In real life, okay, yes, a truck driver has to get from point A to point B within a specific amount of time, over a specific amount of miles, kilometres in Australia, to get the commodity delivered, to abide by the contract, blah, blah, blah. When we talk...
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, on commodity transfer timers, because I don't know, you haven't really played recently. What it is, but pretty much is you have a commodity and you bring it to a station, and then you have to sit there and wait. You can deliver 1,000. If you have 10,000 units, you have 1,000 units of cargo. You can deliver 1,000 units of cargo. Then you have to wait 10 minutes, and then you can deliver 1,000 again, and then you have to wait 10 minutes, and it takes you a whole hour, and however many minutes to deliver all this cargo because there's a freaking timer that has to count down every time you deliver something for it to reset so you can deliver more.
Yeah. That's what I was getting to, right? So when the truck driver gets to point B and actually empties the truck out at, let's say it's a big box store. It's a massive semi-trailer, one of the super tall ones. It takes, 2 hours to empty out the trailer half the time because the staff are bloody useless, just saying.
Yeah.
Retail. It's the same thing here. It's they're making you wait real time for what? A digital asset to move from one digital space to another. It's a computer game. So take out the fucking timers, leave the fucking things out, because in real life it's a bitch to get your truck unloaded and then get back to the depot on time without getting your pay docked because of some fucking idiot retail worker who couldn't do their job properly at the dock. It's the same with this. Why are we being penalised 10 minutes of our lives each time for what? It's a digital asset being moved in a digital environment. It's not fucking real. Let's be realistic. Fuck your time off. If I want to deliver 10,000 units, deliver them, get paid, and play the fucking game. That's how it needs to be. CIG, you need to pull back from this reality bullshit. It's a computer game. It will only ever be a computer game until people actually make real spaceships and we actually really do that shit in real life. But you know what? Time is money in that respect, and you're getting paid to do that. We're not getting paid to wait 10 minutes in a computer game to drop 1,000 units off and 10,000 units. Add up 10 times 10. It's 100 minutes. Fucking what's wrong with you people? Sorry. But I'm just, why? The timers should go off and then never come back. If they do, well, I feel very sorry for people who do cargo hauling or mining. Fuck me. Following discussions, the decision was made to temporarily remove this card from the roadmap until the new target date is decided upon. Accounting app? Excuse me? We're going to have accountants in the game?
No, it's just an accounting app. It's just on my mobile glass. I can pull up an app and I can say, player System Tech Talk, transfer 1,000 to you. I don't have to create beacons and do all this stupid shit.
Yeah.
People are really upset that the accounting cap is off because you know what? You're a player, I'm a player. I should just be able to say, hey, here's a thousand UEC. I can't do that. I have to say, all right, well, let's create a transfer bacon. Oh, somebody else accepted it. Let me delete it and create it again. Let me trade it again. It's not the end of the world that I have to do that, but it's stupid.
Why don't I
It's
just
stupid.
call it a banking app? Seriously? Accounting app? So, yeah, like, fuck. People transfer money digitally every fucking day of the week. Call it a banking app, CIG. Don't try to reinvent the wheel with just words in the English language, thanks. Yeah, okay, economy display terminal, boring. Dynamic mission systems, economy generated missions. Okay, this is something that needed to be brought back in very seriously. I'll let you go first because I want to get your perspective, your positive side to this compared to the missions that I have done, especially the bounty hunting missions and, go save the people missions, distress call beacon missions and shit. I'll get your angle first.
All right. So pretty much what this is all right. Well, so it's been removed. What? So the team decides where it's been removed from the roadmap. This should be really concerning because in order to have economy generated missions, it needs to be dynamic. What you need to have a dynamic economy first, and not have it all gamey and say, oh, when you go into this thing, you'll get this mission no matter what. Like it currently is, it'll be all dynamic because of the quanta, and they're moving around. And there's all these different nodes. The reason that this has been delayed is because they may have delayed quanta. So they may have dropped the ball on all of this. So now they have to delay all these features because we were going to have the dynamic mission system out by this time, but we've dropped the ball on that. So now we got to remove everything else associated with it off because we screwed it up, and that's what these next two are all about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think the economy, once it got gimped, I think it was 3.5 or 3.4. It got gimped. DG did a big video about it, and he went off his brain. And I happen to actually agree with everything he actually had to say for once, especially when it related back to mining and back to commodities in the economy, and actually being able to have money at that stage, or UEC, a UEC. And it's all well and good to have missions, but if you've got no economy in which to spend that UEC in, other than the rec store, which no longer exists anyway, what incentive do you have to do missions and take risks? Oh, fun? Yeah, not if you're doing it by yourself. If you're going in with a few mates to do those missions and you mission share it, etc., awesome. Yeah, that's fun. But then your financial reward is crap compared to mining. There's no economic gain where you can just go from that mission and go back after you've done a few missions, obviously go back to your hangar or wherever and go to a shipyard and go, look, I want to buy 4 Panthers and I want to buy this and I want to get a shield upgrade. You can't do that because, one, the accounting app isn't working. Two, the economic part of the game isn't there. Those parts aren't for sale. You've got to get out of your ship, you've got to go into the station, you've got to go and then buy the thing manually, then go back out, then go into your hangar, then attach the equipment to then go back into your ship in the PU to actually go and actually use it. Really? Refueling and all that jazz, right? You can refuel on Olisar's pads now, kind of. And repair and all that jazz. Why can't you shop for equipment while you're refueling and stuff? Petrol stations in real life, yeah? Or gas stations, as you guys call them in America. You go in, you don't just pay for fuel. You get a drink, you get some chips, you get a chocolate bar. Oh, look, I need a new fan belt for my car. Yeah, and you get the extra stuff. Why can't they get the economies fixed first to bring all this other stuff in? This is what I was saying about meeting the Xi'an first before the Banu. Meet the Banu first. Get this economy pumping. Get that rock solid. So when we're talking about black market and buying equipment and weapons and shield upgrades and armor upgrades, the economy's already there with stock, which is easily attainable through your mobiGlas or through purchase directly with the NPC, because the stock system's already in place and you buy it, it attaches, it's done. everything is getting done back to front. Leapfrogging, and there's this quarterly bullshit. This is what's causing it, because you've got different teams getting different stuff done, and other teams going, oh yeah, we're nowhere near in support of that, give us 6 more months. So yeah, I don't know, just it's stupid in my eyes. How about you? Same kind of thing?
Yeah, so yeah, you have to go in and then you have to wait for the freaking ship to be recalled off the pad to make changes for it and then resummon it back. That makes a little bit of sense, but I mean, I should be able to go in, store the ship. I should be able to go in while it's refueling, shop for where I want to go, maybe go out, store the ship, apply it immediately, and without all the changes, and then it doesn't work, and then so many stuff that goes wrong.
Yeah,
it's just straight garbage.
It is.
We're actually I don't know how long we've been, but I know we're getting pretty far down there. Go ahead and is there anything else down here that I wanted to talk about? Was the multi-crew expanded pilot role? I mean, that's such a broad fucking brush. What does that even mean? An expanded pilot role to give the pilot more to do, to give the other guys more to do. The push and pull, I was looking forward to that. They removed that. I mean, but you don't even need it because everybody has EVA suits by default. Nobody's out there without their suits because you suffocate in 10 seconds. Just walking around because of the bugs. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's this responsibility sharing, right? So what the problem they got at the moment is in multi-crew ships is the HUD system. So if you're at the bridge of the ship and you're managing shields and managing power and quantum and all that jazz, right? Then if you go to the actual set station within that ship, the quantum station, the shield station, the whatever other station it is, right, where you actually sit and you've actually got your dedicated HUD, just like we've got in my Herald, right, where you want to do scanning and all that jazz, right? If you're at the bridge of the ship, you cannot transfer ownership or share ownership of that HUD with the dedicated station. Why? And the multi-crew thing is just a fucking joke. Ships, weapons don't attach to ships. Turrets don't always auto gimbal and aim assist. Some turrets stick, some turrets you can't get into. If you turn the ship, sometimes the turret will turn with the ship. It just, multi-crew itself, the whole mechanic of multi-crew needs to be scrapped and re-implemented completely from scratch. It's a fucking shit fight. And in a fighter ship, right, you've got to take care of your own shields and your own power distribution and your weapons distribution and rebalance your shields. I personally use voice attack for that because that just helps as that second person in my ship that I don't have automatically do that for me. And I pay the money, and it's a massive quality of life improvement. Just like having no track, was it no track IR?
Trigger.
Yep, I paid for the license for that, and it is. As I've said in previous videos, the head tracking is fucking awesome. It works. It's really good. I love it. So there's some more positives from me today, guys. But yeah, at the end of the day, things like multi-crew and FOIP, oh my god, and just look, stuff like that, and the banking system and the economy, they are core mechanics of the entire heart and soul of the game. You don't have them fleshed out perfect, nothing else can get put together. You got anything to add to that?
Well, all the other cards, NPC healing. They want to do NPC. All right, just with the drag, they want to do it on NPCs first and have you interacting with NPCs to find out what bugs and glitches you find on the NPCs before they bring it over to the players, because the players is a little bit more complicated. As far as the roadmap, I think I'm pretty finished with it. I think we discussed everything we want to discuss with it. A lot of stuff, when it comes down to it, all this stuff, it's all been removed and changed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm coming from a place of been removed for change now, and the next week they can do another roadmap roundup and stuff has come back, but that probably won't happen. There's like a 95% chance happen, but that won't happen. But there's a 5% chance that it could, and that's where I come from. Like we were doing moving into the world. I'm not from that. I just wish we had more substantial updates than what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
What's your final thoughts on it?
Yeah, look, my final thoughts is this thing here, SQ42, and this. Yeah. I hate to say it, but we're at a brick wall still. We're at the titanium wall still. They're putting stuff in, taking stuff out, putting up this stuff that out of here back into another patch later on, because
only to then later take it out again.
Yes, we are literally leapfrogging and backflipping and 2 steps forward, 3 steps back consistently. We've been doing that for 8 years now. We are almost at 4.0 now. 4.0 was meant to be the big God patch, not 3.5, but the actual God patch was meant to be 4.0. It was the next major pillar milestone, as told to us by Chris Roberts directly in the first pillar talk, where we would start to see substantiated evidence of growth of the game, actual real development to a point where the acceleration to 5.0 would have been so quick it would happen in 6 months to a year, and then we'd be looking at beta the year after. Do you guys honestly think, out there in the audience, honestly, do you think we're going to have Star Citizen in 2 years from now? Do you? In beta? Yeah, early beta? I'll leave the question up to you guys. Put it in the comments. Feedback. Tell us what you think. We can only, join you in the comments if you actually comment. If you're going to download the video, put a comment in as to why, please. Because if you just put a downvote, well, we don't know what you're downvoting to. Give us your feedback, for better or for worse. This is quid pro quo. If I can't answer the question, I know Inventory Lead the Way will. Okay? That's our job. That's what we're doing, and we want to help everybody have their questions answered. And if we haven't got the answer, we'll definitely both go away and find it for you and bring it back to you as soon as possible, like we always do, like I had before now as well. 242 though. Question mark. Again, once again, I'm going to say end of the year, episode 1, first reiteration of it at least. What's your final thoughts on SQ42?
Well, a lot of people have said it. Squadron 42 is holding up the development of the PU. That we want real PU stuff, real dynamic economy stuff, real things with the economy. But it's not being developed currently because we're just getting leftovers from Squadron 42. They've admitted that. Look at what we've gotten, except for the mole. But for the most part, what we're getting is leftovers from Squadron 42 because there's no economy in Squadron 42. They're not focused on any economy-related things for it. They need to hurry up and get it out. Get it. I'm with the same school of thought. Me and many people will agree. Finish Squadron 42. Just finish it, all right? Yeah, go ahead. Do what you got to do. Finish it. Give us a leftover. And then when you're done with it, stop development on Part 2. Don't start development on Part 2. Just finish the PU now. You got the Squadron 42. Take whoever you got on that team, move them over to the PU, and have everybody firing on the same thing instead of two hands going in two different directions, trying to work on the same thing, but really arbitrarily, because they're two different things. Let's work on the same thing, finish it, be done with it, move on, let's go.
Also, Winslow Derby, get some staff. You've got 47 jobs going, which is pretty much your whole office. That might also be why Squadron 42 is not getting finished, because all of the other Frankfurt and California offices and I think Austin in part as well have a few people working on Squadron 42 in place of Winslow Derby. So, Aaron, pull your finger out, get some staff and get it finished. As you know, Infantry Lead the Way said, get the first episode out at least. Then go back to the PU, put some heavy groundwork and foundations in. Then once we've got a big improvement, then do episode 2. And then after episode 2, which should only be a very short experience for you guys, but by then, because it's all ready to go, just to put the different scenes in. Then come back after that and then finish SC onto beta off, and then or beta, however you want to call it, and then do third episode, final episode, or if not, continue on, and then get that done. Then finish SC off, retail launched, then episode 4 and 5 if you're doing them as well of SC separately to the final actual SC itself. You do that, you're going to keep your backers. You don't do that, and you don't continue to give us crap. You continue to give us crap, and you don't continue to actually release important updates that are quality of life updates for us as players. You're going to lose us all, and it's going to end up in that lawsuit that I keep on touting. So, just saying, it's not a threat by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I can see from a business person's aspect, and a backer's aspect, and a concierge backer's aspect, that you're heading down a very, very dangerous pathway here, and getting very complacent, and it's pissing people off to the point where even the concierge people, and the Skitzians themselves are losing their shit. Well, come on, guys, you can't ignore that, because they're the guys that you put forward to annoy the community with in the first place. That's the monster you created. That's the monster you now have to look after. Anyway, that's my rant done. So we'll wait for 3.9 and then 3.8. We'll do another update on that. Next video, we're going to be talking more about planet side stuff and how fauna and collision detection and stuff like that don't work. So keep subscribe. Blah, 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 blah. Keep your eye on the channel. Subscribe. Please comment. Click the bell, because the only way we're going to get you guys involved in this is if you guys are following this. We can't, just expect you to subscribe or just pop by the channel once in a while. We are going right through this from A to Z. And there's positives and cons. There's skepticism and optimism. But guys, we need your input and your help to get that, that comment, that information shared from your perspective as well. In the next 2 episodes after this one, we are going to then look at bringing in guests. So if you are keen to come onto the channel and share your opinions on a subject that you want to talk about, we'll happily talk about it with you, and we'll put together a video discussing your concerns and needs for Star Citizen as well. Pop your interest in the comments below on this video. We'll send you a link to Discord after that. Then come into our Discord, and then we can go from there to get your video set up for you in between the other ones we're doing in the meantime. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. I'm CTT, you know me, and peace out. And as per usual, as per always, peace.
I'm Infantry Lead the Way. Yep. Bye.
Cheers.